Hey everyone, this is the Myers fan back with another video, and I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm actually going to talk about the David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy. Was Allyson a bad character? And this video is inspired actually by two people. First, by a YouTuber named JND. Just those three letters. So he's going to be kind of hard to find because that's not a very specific name. It's J as in Jordan, N as in Nancy, and D as in Daniel. JND. And he talks a lot about the Halloween franchise. He likes the Thorn trilogy, at least from what I can gather. But he made a video about Allyson from the Halloween trilogy and how he thinks she's a bad character. Here's the thing with that. In my opinion, there are no bad characters, only bad writers. First of all, when you are writing a character, you want to make sure people know about your character. It's like they say in the wrestling business, how do you get the character over? Which means, how do you get the character across to the fans? How do you get them to like the character or even hate the character if they have to hate him or her? What do you know about the character? How well do you know them? At least in my opinion, whenever I would see a character for the first time, I would feel like that's a person that I know. And that would make me want to interview the actor or actress behind the character even more, because I feel like there are little bits of that character inside of the person playing the character. Or you could flip it. Maybe there are little bits and pieces of the real person inside of the character. So I'll start by saying, what do we know about Allyson? And don't say, well, we know that Karen's her mother and Ray's her father and Lori's her grandmother. No, I know all that. What do we know about Allyson? What kind of person is she? What do we know about her? And the answer is fuck all. Which means nothing. We know nothing about her. Just because you know who a person's family is doesn't mean you know them. You know, I was writing a Halloween treatment of my own, and let me tell you guys something. By the time you get 30 minutes into the movie, you're gonna feel like you know the main heroine, the main good guy. And that's what we should have had here. They should have put Allyson over. That should have been their primary goal. How do we get this girl over, as wrestling fans say? How do we get her across to the audience? What do we know about Allyson? What is her personality? We know nothing about her. You know why? Because when she shows up, she does nothing. She basically shows up, has a weird conversation with her dad about how her, he talks about how he has peanut butter on his nether region, and it's like, okay, that's gross as fuck. And then I think she walks down the street with her friends, and they're talking about how Michael is not related to Lori. Okay, and how did you advance that plot point? Oh yeah, I forgot, you didn't. You just took that out because you knew it would make John Carpenter happy. But anyway, so what do we know about Allyson? Well, nothing. We know that she has a boyfriend named Cameron, and he's played by Dylan Arnold, I believe his name is, and we know that the boyfriend cheats on Allyson. But again, what do we know about Allyson? Nothing. We're supposed to know what she likes, doesn't like, what are her hobbies. We know none of these things. She's literally just there. And then when she does show up on screen, her character is basically an asshole. Now, let me explain. Yes, I know the thing with Oscar and how he made a move on her or whatever, and she didn't like it, and then she called him an asshole. Here's how they went wrong with that. The idea and the object of a Halloween movie is to make your character likable so that the audience can sympathize and empathize with them. But by making Allyson an asshole and making her flip him off, she's not a very nice person. So if something happens to her, the audience won't give a fuck. And why is that? Well, because she's not a nice person and because we know so little about her anyway. So there's nothing invested in her emotionally. We have no emotion invested in her. We don't sympathize with her and we don't empathize with her. If Michael tries to kill her, well, we're not going to give a fuck. We're going to be like, well, whatever, because we don't know anything about her. And that's the problem that they had with this character. That's what it is. We know fuck all about her. Absolutely nothing about her. I've said this in many videos. At that scene right there where Oscar's about to get killed by Myers, what Allyson should have said when Oscar made a pass at her, or whatever you want to call it, she should have said, Oscar, I appreciate that, but, I just don't feel that way. And I've said this before. And when Myers comes, maybe he should have lunged at Allyson and they could have had Oscar jump in the way and take the knife for her. And then she's so filled with remorse and sadness because she just hurt his feelings. And then she's like, no, Oscar, don't die, don't die, don't die. And he dies, and that pisses her off, and now she wants revenge. They could have done that. But really, to sum up her character, all she did was show up on screen, have this weird interaction with her dad that should have been uncomfortable as fuck because he's making jokes about his private parts in front of his daughter, so that should have been weird already. She walks down the street, has a conversation about Michael for a plot point that they're never gonna advance. They just have it for the sake of having it and for the sake of letting the fans of the older series know that no, this is not related to 1 through 8. And it's almost like giving us the middle finger so they don't go anywhere with that. And then we find out, like I said, that her boyfriend cheats on her. And then on top of that, he takes her phone and throws it into some kind of weird substance. I don't know if that was eggnog or milk or cheese or whatever the fuck that was. And she barely does anything about that. And then she just runs from Michael. I guess you can call it running from him. He's not really chasing her. And she screams at the sky or whatever the fuck. I don't know. So, again, I still pose the first question. What do we know about this character? What kind of person is she? We don't know because they didn't take enough time to develop this character. She's literally just there for the sake of being there, for the sake of advancing other people's storylines, and she doesn't even have a storyline of her own. Not really. Let me prove it to you. Allyson is Lori's granddaughter. She is Karen's daughter. But who is Allyson the person? We don't know. She's literally there to give Lori a reason to be there, to give Karen a reason to be there. So JND was right about that. She's nothing more than a plot device incarnate. That's what she is. She is a living, breathing plot device and nothing more. And you might say, well, Myers fan, aren't all characters plot devices in a way? Yes. But at least with them, they have personalities. You know about them. You know their story. You know their history. You know their likes, their dislikes. But here, you have none of that. She's literally just there. And that's just the first movie. Because like J&D said, when you get to kills and ends, especially ends, she's just downright unlikable because she treats her grandmother like shit. And what happened to the whole thing about, oh, grandmother? And then here's the thing. She actually has the audacity to say to her grandmother in Halloween 18, she says, say goodbye to Michael and get over it. What? What? This is what I'm saying. They just made her a jerk. And for what? Not to have any character development. They did all of this to further the story. She is literally a human plot device. She's just there to make other things happen. So, is she a bad character? I mean, I guess you could say so. But it's more David Gordon Green's fault than anything. And like J&D said, I really hope this trilogy doesn't ruin her career, because Andi Matichak is so much better than that. Thanks for listening, guys. I'm the Michael Myers fanatic. I approve this message. Shout out to J&D and resident of Collinwood. Please be sure to follow me on all forms of social media at the Myers Fan 25 and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an upload. Thank you for watching.